Now, Kenya and Eritrea have agreed to abolish visa requirements for their respective citizens. The two countries believe the move will bolster bilateral relations and improve people-to-people ties, besides entrenching regional integration. In a meeting between President William Ruto and his Eritrean counterpart, Isaias Afwerki, the two leaders also decided to cooperate in the African Union in the spirit of Pan-Africanism. Further, they agreed to cooperate and consult on regional integration and to safeguard regional peace, security, and development in the Horn of Africa.
Two excellencies agreed to bolster bilateral relations between Kenya and Eritrea, as well as improving people-to-people ties with a view to enhancing and entrenching regional integration. To this end, the two countries shall abolish visa requirements for their respective citizens. The two countries will also cooperate in the African Union in the spirit of Pan-Africanism.
Welcome back to Backroomconvo. I'm your host, Lesego M, Dalie Report, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Another amazing week. I know last week I was inconsistent in so many ways, and I do apologize. I think we ended up just releasing 3 episodes out of 5, so I do apologize for the inconsistency. But other than that, how are you? How's your day? How has your week been? Positive? Do you want to talk about it? Yes? No? Do let us know in the comment section if you want to talk about it. Tell us how your weekend was. So I had a very interesting weekend, right? So chilling with friends, for sure. Chilling with friends. One friend in particular. Had a lot of arguments, for sure, with the friend. And we had a big war, and I met some really like with the weekend. That is interesting to see that. Yeah. So let's get over to it. I was going over TikTok on the weekend, and I saw a video by the President of Kenya, Ruto. He was, basically having a speech and having to tell people in Kenya, and to see it as well, to say Kenya is now visa-free for African countries or diasporas, you know what I mean? So if you want to port to Kenya as a South African, you can just go there visa, and it had me thinking, because I was looking at a lot of comments you guys were saying under the comment section of the speech, and a lot of the South Africans didn't see that as an opportunity, but not knowing that even I didn't know that South Africa already had an agreement with Kenya that Kenyans can come to South Africa without a visa for a period of 90 days. I also didn't know that, but people who were in the comment section were saying that this thing, Cyril Ramaphosa should basically not implement this in South Africa. The visa-free thingy, looking at the situation. Well, a part of me does agree with them, given the situation that's happening with the Nigerians, with the guys, Makula, basically. Makula, he does like Makula. If you don't know what Makula is, do let us know in the comment section. I will make sure to tell you in the next episode what again Makula. So, yeah, based on that, people were saying Syria shouldn't do that for all African countries, and a part of me agrees and a part of me disagrees, and I'll give you my perspective or my points regarding it. And continuing with the story, I was giving that speech, I was like, wow, this is amazing for Kenya, so for people who didn't know, so like the main export that Kenya has are coffee, textiles, and tobacco, iron, steel and iron, amongst other things, even petroleum, amongst other things, and South Africa being one of the importers of, machinery, transportation equipment, well, we get that from South Africa, for people who didn't know that. And I'm like, there could be an amazing, opportunity that lies behind, because Kenya is coffee. We have sugar. Imagine the collaboration between companies that make sugar and coffee having to battle. Be creative, basically, with the entire idea of coffee and sugar. How do we bundle it up and selling it into the world? You know what I mean? So the corn as well, South Africa has corn, has some of the exports that we can collaborate. We already have a relationship, for people who didn't know. We do already have a relationship with Kenya, because I did say we give them machinery, transportation equipment, petroleum, and motor vehicles, and I don't know about diamonds, but I think diamond is something that can take places like the United States, the United States, I think so. I'm not sure. Do let me know in the comment section. I'll be happy. I'm happy to let at the time. So yeah, that was interesting that it happened, and there's like endless possibilities, for that. This is my perspective. Let's go on. There's people who are like, well, at first, before giving myself reasoning, I was like, well, this is actually a great idea, for us to be a part of it, and he was urging people to be a part of the no visa agreement across all African countries. I was like, this is a dope initiative, it's a great initiative for those of you, it's a great initiative, right? Yeah, I was like, yeah, but I was like, but South Africa, even if they can be there, there's just that thing, rules. And I'm like, well, in some countries, there's like, in Rwanda also did that also. It introduced the visa agreement to all African countries, and also they introduced that. And Rwanda, from what I heard, amazing. So, and I look at South Africa, corruption, law enforcement, and I'm like, well, people, if that happens in South Africa with the current state, it's going to cripple us from an economic standpoint, because there's corruption, and with a lot of corruption, there's drugs, there's often there are those negative things that need to stimulate the economy. That's my point, And someone was like saying, no, the United States is the one that's in charge of, the governance of South Africa. Go sit there and just puppets. I get all that politics, right? And I do get people who say the Stellenbosch mafias are also in the picture. They're the ones who are calling shots. The US is not basically the ones that are calling shots. And I'm like, it's politics. I can't prove it. You can prove it. If you can prove me and convince me, maybe I might give you an listen. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, politics aside, there's an opportunity, but for us as South Africans to be a part of that fully without the 90-day arrangement that we have with Kenya alone. I'm like, well, for us, there has to be like a criteria to say, like, we are giving ourselves as South Africans a period of 10 years. We're giving ourselves, give us a period of 10 years, a decade, to clean up the mess. We have a lot of like corruption in our country, which is not good for public image. We need 10 years to just get rid of all that. Understand? And whenever we introduce new laws or revamp some of these laws that are part of our constitution, then we'll say, okay, since we are looking into having the no visa arrangement without tender applicants, what are some of the repercussions that we stand to face in the future should we indulge in this? Those are some of the questions that we need to ask ourselves as a country, or the government, or what the government should ask themselves. You know what I mean? Those are some of the questions they need to ask themselves. And I'm like, well, we need time for sure, for that to happen, you know what I mean, we need to fix everything that's happening within us, because there's a lot of what I said, the corruption, what that's going on. I think for us to have a very free-flowing and smooth processes, for us to have law enforcement that's there to law enforce, and you know, this not overlooked. And I know there's people who are saying that law enforcement is not as strong, because I say as strong because I compare it to the apartheid, you know, law enforcement, which was very strong then because it was white people, whatever. We can argue around that, but you know, it was strong, and people, you know, brought points forward, such as, you know, the salaries are low, and maybe that's why it's going on. There's people who are profiting from this. That's why they're very comfortable with the corruption that's going on. Because how okay, let me just break it down. When someone says there's people profiting from the corruption that's happening, from the corruption that's happening in our countries, either they're benefiting from it. It's in this sense. I'll break it down. When there's a lot of prisoners, someone is making, you know what I mean? So if South Africa has a high, you know, it has a high corruption rate, and it has a high criminal rate, or, you know what I mean, record. So what do people start to do? They start to hire what? The insurances, there's insurances that come and play, the security companies that get hired because of like the unsafe areas. There's high securities, there's companies in that market that start to profit from that because high employment rate die. So people start paying that, and they start paying high because, you know, demand is very high, so the prices just skyrocket because of that. So someone is making money, and I think from a logistical standpoint or the analytics standpoint, a lot of people that run those companies are said to be white people. So it's like, okay, so there's people who are profiting from that, and they, in partnership with some of like the members of parliament. So they are comfortable with letting that slide because they are profiting from that. You know, same applies when someone is saying something with mining to say, these politicians are eating from that, that's why they are not doing anything regarding that. You know, I'm like, oh, okay, well, we know there's corruption all over, and there'll always be people who are sugarcoating or covering up for someone else. There's politics within politics, you know what I mean? And I'm like, well, it's good to know. That's my opinion as to, do I think we need to collaborate with all the African countries? And I think one of the requirements, again, since we, like, from what I gave you to say, we need that 10 years, the Truman Plan, something similar to the Truman Plan, if I may, something similar to the 5-year Truman Plan, the plan didn't year, but we just make it 5 years to see that this is what we are going to do before. And some of the requirements should be the GDP, guys. We can't just accept everyone in some of the countries that are not doing good. Understand that they might bring poverty to our people, the neighboring countries, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, for us to agree for your country to be a part of this visa-free agreement, your country should be performing at a certain standard to qualify to be in there. So it doesn't compromise my country when it's doing good. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to compromise my country. So there should be like, I don't know if they do have, I've never had it, but I think it would be good to have that, you know, in that agreement to say this is the minimum requirement to qualify to become a part of like this thing that we are trying to build as Africans, you know. So it's very great. It's a great idea. I think it's in the lines of the great Muhammad Gaddafi. He also had this idea that African countries, they are capable of, you know, running the world because we have all the mineral resources, whereas like countries that are the superpowers don't really have the resources like we do. So if we can work together, we can make it happen, you know. Like the BRICS Sundays and the partnership and everything, I think initially I saw it as the idea of Muhammad Gaddafi, because he had the vision to have a united Africa where we have our own currency. There's no borders, there's no, etc. That was his vision, to say we have what it takes to be the superpower in this, So unfortunately, he got assassinated. And, because of mainstream media again, he was being bashed all over. But propaganda, was a part of his demise. But I see it coming through. It might not be in the same way Muhammad Gaddafi had envisioned, but I see it moving in that way, slowly but surely. But eventually we'll get to a point where Africa can stand on its own 2 feet and make all those decisions. That's why I'm like, even with this arrangement that we have with BRICS, and I'm still like, I'm not sure, because it's always agendas with all these superpowers, and Russia being a part of those superpowers. I'm like, I'm not sure, because these people always have something greater to benefit from that. China, is colonizing, and it's colonizing some of the African countries. And I know a particular place where China, the country couldn't pay back the loan they took from the Chinese people, and the Chinese people had to take the airport of that country. And I'm like, oh, okay, how does that work? You know what I mean? And I'm like, those are some of the things that need to look into, But those steps, baby steps will get there. And I think with the change of the parliament in general, I think we stand a greater chance. Get more young people involved, get fresh minds in there. I think we have the capability to change it for our people, particularly in South Africa, because I've never been else in the world. So I think that's what we should do. That's my opinion on what's going on currently in the world. How are you? How are you feeling? How was your weekend? Do let me know in the comment section. I am your host, Lesego M, thought-provoking, aka She Just Shot. And maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like I will. Let's meet after the break. Cheers. Welcome back to Backroomconvo. I'm your host, Lesego M, thought-provoking, aka She Just Shot. And maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Listen. On the first segment, I actually forgot one thing. I forgot to give out the song of the day. The song of the day is Dalie by Kamo Mphela. Kamo Mphela. Featuring Tyler ICU, Khalil Harris, and Baby Son. The song is currently sitting north of 3 million views. It's a very nice song. Shout out to the guys who were behind that, man. Going back to what we were talking about, man. Firstly, how are you doing this afternoon? How's your Monday? Did they send you flowers, roses, taking you out for a date? Brought you lunch at work? Did she say I love you before she went to work? Tell me in the comment section. I'm your host, Lesego M, thought-provoking, aka She Just Shot. You might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. I told you already. Hey man, that special person. I met the special person over the weekend, and you asked for a name. So the special person's name is Dance. To Dance. That's her name. The special person. You want it. I can't say the name. I almost said the name of the person who wanted to know, but I can't do that. So yeah, before we get on the break, before we even go further, so for people who just joined us, on the podcast today, we are talking about William Ruto, the arrangement of the free visa shandies that's going on, the free visa agreement across all African countries. So if you are from South Africa, you want to go to Kenya, no free, it's a free visa. You don't need a visa to go there, But I think from Kenya to South Africa, we also have that arrangement, but there's requirements to say you can only be in South Africa for 90 days, and you have to go back and come back again, have another 90 days. we have that arrangement with them, and some people were in agreement and some were in disagreement, and I'm still like in between because I don't really know the nitty-gritties of the agreement between all African countries that are to submit to be a part of this great initiative. I think it's okay. I think I'll reserve my thoughts on this. I think I'll reserve. But yeah, very great. I think it's a great collaboration. I think I just said it. I think it's a great collaboration if you come from the standpoint of how do we bridge some of these gaps as African countries, and what opportunities we stand to gain. That's what we also need to look into. You know, if Kenya has a lot of the agricultural products that are that side, you know what I mean? Like how are you utilizing that or creating collaboration with those people and, you know, getting that from, because South Africa, the South African rand is stronger than the Kenyan. The Kenyan currency. Yeah. I'm just checking this rand to Kenya. I think Kenya shilling. Oh, it's a shilling. So yes, you get my point. My point exactly is, one South African rand equals to 8.27 Kenyan shillings. Damn. You know, for them to come this side, we're actually the States. Imagine me going that side and buying a house in Kenya. You know what I mean? I'm like an average United States citizen buying a house in South Africa. That's what it is, you know, when you go to Kenya and you are South African, because the rand is stronger than the Kenyan shilling. You know, the difference is a lot. It's like a 17 shillings. It's a lot when we come from that. So imagine having a collaboration with the people in Kenya. You know, I made a basic example with sugar and coffee. You know, South Africa is sugar because of the fields that we have in KZN, the sugar cane fields that we have in KZN, which, you know, we export to some of the neighboring countries in European and United States. You know, so that we even supply Kenya. We even have an arrangement with Kenya. I think it's for machinery and transportation in that sector. So imagine I and the Lesego collaborating with someone who has a coffee farm, and then I have a sugar cane farm and I'm from Durban. We have that collaboration. We say, okay, like, let's bottle this thing up, be creative with the branding and what I want, and sell that to the world. You know what I mean? That is cheaper. Coffee is cheaper in Kenya. How are we bringing it to South Africa? And how are we making profits? Like, I think from a relationship standpoint, it makes sense. And there's great opportunities that are for sure going to stimulate the economy, more of the economy of Kenya for sure than it is for South Africa, because people will be coming from Kenya to South Africa. It's people who are looking or seeking to get, you know, a better job, because obviously the rand is stronger than the Kenyan shilling, and I think people from South Africa would be going there to, you know, for partnership, bringing some of the raw materials from that side to this side, and those partnership. And more than anything, I think they need to work on their tourist attraction sites, because if that can be a holiday destination for an average South African, a lot of people would come to those places. And, you know, I haven't seen a lot of people talk about like some of the places in Kenya. I don't know a tourist attraction in Kenya. You know, I haven't seen anything on the socials that really caught my eye. That's why at this point I can't really think of anything. And I'm like, they need to like work on that as well to make it appealing, you know, for everybody or African countries, you know. For in the long run, I think it makes sense, even now, but in the long run, it would make greater sense for us Africans to unite as we should, for the better of good, man. That's my opinion. What do you think? Tell me what you think. I'm your host, Lesego M, the Wedding Pod, aka Future Short, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. How was your weekend? Tell me how was your weekend. Let's talk about it. You know, I told you a bit about mine. There's a special person, Prudence, came in. I'm still I'll say corruptibility, but it is what it is, Song today is Dalie by Kamo Mphela featuring Tyler ICU and Kyle Harris featuring also an amazing artist by the name of Born Sun. Is featured on that project as well. So in a short while, you and I will be talking about the book of the day, But do send in those comments, and please don't forget to follow, rate the show to get a notification for each and every time we drop a new episode. Tell us, and please do, give us some of the guests that you guys want to see on the podcast. A guest into the road to 100 episodes. Give us the names, and we'll try and maybe incorporate a huge portion of that in the video section of things, in the video segment of things. But we want to grow this and engage more with the audience, because it's always me talking about me, and I don't really have the interaction. You do let me know. I should improve, you know what I mean? To me, I'm still learning as well, and I'm taking it. I'm a sponge to this. I've never done podcasting before, but I'm learning each and every day. I'm learning something new in this, and hopefully one day we'll be bigger than some of the podcasts that are in the world. I know you're thinking of me, but this Joe Rogan who's skimming it internationally, taking off that me big, then it's all in the works, and by God's timing and plan, we hope to make it to that. To that point, and I love it. So yeah, on to the next topic of the day. And I did mention last week, very cold. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, very cold, and that's why sometimes I was in 2 days I started procrastinating, because it was very. I'm not sure if I want to record, but I did apologize for the people who just joined. I did apologize on the first segment. Yeah. And my journey so far, someone who was asking in the comment section as far as the TELF Certificate, I did get the certificate. It took about 5 days to get the TELF Certificate. I submitted the videos. I'm about to submit the video, set the availability in time. You don't need any degree to do that. You don't need any degree, but I think to have a degree is an advantage. To have a TELF Certificate is an advantage. And a place where you can get the TELF Certificate for free is Teachers Record. You can get that for free, and the best place to start for you is Preply. I think it's a great site. It's user-friendly even. I think it's user-friendly if you want to go into teaching international students from South Korea, China, etc., etc. If you want to, I think Preply is an amazing site, and a lot of people have been creative as how they set their prices. And don't be discouraged by people who are talking about their bad experiences and not getting customers. And I think ultimately you must actually try to see if it works for you, and you adjust as you go. You know what I mean? I don't have or an input as to how are the payments, but I've had someone talk about PayPal, and PayPal, you link it with FNB. That's how you get paid. You get paid weekly. And one of the things that they didn't tell you on Preply, I want to tell a lot of people that Preply doesn't tell you. For the trial lesson, they will actually pay you. You only get paid after the trial lessons. And one of the things that stood out for me with Preply, for people who want to go to online teaching, is that they take 30% of every cent that you make. I think over time it goes down to 28, because I saw a rough sketch of someone who was doing the price thing. It's like, oh, this is pretty dope when you look at it. When you look at it from a number standpoint, you're like, oh, okay, this actually makes sense from a number standpoint for them, because they're providing the material that you're going to use for your online sessions with your students. And yeah, I think they try to compensate for it, because also they are doing the marketing for you. You don't need to actually go out and individually go out and look for clients. They get that for you, and now you just need to position yourself well enough to get those clients. You know what I mean? I think it's very fair. It makes business sense. This is our perspective for anyone who wants to go into online teaching. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that, but I'll give you a full review or insight about everything as soon as I am in routine with it, have flow, have clients and let you know, because I'm still not approved. It must still be declined and go back and do some reviews and whatever. But those are some of the two things that stood out for me when you want to be a part of prepping. Beautiful community, user-friendly interface. It's just those few things, man. And it's saturated even, so you have to, for you to stand out, you gotta put in the work. You gotta think, you gotta be creative. You can't just say I got the certificate and everything else will happen. You still have to push within there to get those customers, So yeah, for those of you who just joined us, I'm your host, Lesego M, aka Future Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Karo. How are you today? How are you feeling? How was the weekend? Are we going to Mokhodu Monday? Kogai even, you know what I mean? And Mokhodu Monday is a thing, Mokhodu Monday is a thing. The big call, maybe that's idea with your week. I don't see it much involved, but the side that Joburg is big. From Bram to my Alex, from Soweto going that side. It's not really that big from this side of far, because I've been in as you majority might know, but I'm in Var, so yeah. It's not big. Mokhodu Monday, the culture is not big. And even this place is being, developed, and I guess maybe in future you might get, sports that do have like Mokhodu Monday, Tuesday, ladies, what. They will get to that point, but I like the vibe. There's a bit laid back in comparison to Joburg, but that's not the topic of the day. The topic of the day was visa-free agreement across all African countries. The initiative led by William Ruto, and William Ruto, who is a Kenyan president. Great opportunities ahead, and South Africa is a part of it as well, because they, in the 1st of January of this year, 2023, they signed the 90-day arrangement with them to say, like, it's free as a Kenyan to come to South Africa for 90 days without, those visa requirements, and you have to go back to come back and have another 90 days. How are you? Do let us know. What's your song of the day? Do you agree with our song of the day? Do let us know in the comment section. So the book of the day, for all of the people who've been waiting for this, it's 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Do let me know what you think of the book. I've read the book a while back, but I think I might get the book again and read it and give you a thorough review, because it's been a minute since I read the book. But some people call it names. Like evil, because in learning psychology, it's about and how they work, and someone is like, yo, you need to actually have that to know how to manipulate certain situations of people, so forth and so on, and like basically live as a human. It teaches you the balance of both, and if you're taking it one-sided, it belongs to you, because I've seen the dark side is like, oh, this is but the balance to this is this. It's a pretty dope book. I've read it a while back, so I might read it as well. Give us a book of the day for tomorrow. Let us know what's your song of the day, and maybe it might be our song of the day for tomorrow. How are we doing so far? Please let us know in the comment section. I am your host, Lesego M, aka Future Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me then like Cairo. Let's meet on another amazing segment of Backroom Convos with Lesego M tomorrow. Have a lovely one. Cheers.